that you are explaining some of the things bothering the sporting public, and of course my colleague journalists. Probably I don't agree with my colleague that we should restrict it only to real. Of course, it's good, because if we don't ask those questions now, I don't think we'll get an opportunity again. So we should get all the questions answered here. I'll still come back to the elective Congress, and I believe you give me that opportunity.
Of course.
Yeah. Prof said, I think the Secretary General quoted from the Constitution that at least, and of course, I think Article 5.2 of the Constitution states that at least every year there should be a Congress.
That's not what he said.
Once, at least once, or at least once, yes. At least once. So what it means is that you can do 2 congresses in a year. Yes, that is per the Constitution. The aborted Constitution, Congress, should I put it that way, the one that didn't count, that injunction was put on, was, if I read the relief sought by those who placed the injunction on it, they were basically on not allowing it to come because they think that elections should be part of the Congress, and I was not part. And as you said, it was about audited accounts and those things. So I think that is different from an elective Congress. So let's say if that one is even in court, and court will give audience or will head the parties. It doesn't prevent the GOC from going ahead with an elective Congress, because per what you read, and of course, I think 2015 when this board tenure ended, and Congress extended it about 11 months.
We are saying what you don't know. It didn't happen in 2015.
No, let me finish. Then maybe you correct me and answer the question for me. You understand? It happened that after Rio, elections will be conducted, will be done, so that new board will be put in place. Prof was also saying that, and my colleague asked a question about communication that came out, telling the federation heads that election will be done in 2017 April. And I think the Secretary General said there hasn't been any communication like that. But I also chanced on an email sent by Prof. I think it was in answering a question asked by Lawyer Sahanu about the same Congress. And Prof made it clear that he has discussed with IOC that April 2017 there will be elective Congress. And I'm surprised that now Secretary General is saying that.
Please come. You should come and read it to his colleagues.
So let me finish, because I read it myself. So
Come and read it.
yes. No, if it is there, fine, I can read it. I don't have any problem with that. So I'm surprised about this back and forth of this Congress thing. And the Secretary General said that if you look at the Constitution, immediately after rule, that is what it states.
That's not what it states. You are mischaracterizing a lot of things. So this is what the Constitution says, and you read it already.
You just read it here.
Yes.
Immediately after
Is the Congress following?
The Congress
Immediately following the Olympics.
Immediately after Rio.
Immediately following the Olympics.
Yes.
I don't know if you are not getting immediately. Because the thing is that, and you're also saying that it's up to 31st.
I'll explain that to you.
Why did they choose 5th November? Tell me why. Why
That one I can't explain. No, listen, I can't explain because I was not part of those.
But you are presuming based on the based on that.
No, I'm not basing it on that alone, because I've not mentioned that.
So you are basing on that.
I'm basing on the same Constitution you quoted from. You understand? And I don't get it, because it looks as if now there's no tentative date as to Congress, elective Congress, because of the court issue. And it doesn't look like there will be any dates soon. I want to know from the board, that I want to know from you whether without that court issue you can't deal with the elective Congress, and has been asked by some federation heads. That's what I want to know.
Rasmus, I think this is important. Let's answer this. Then we'll go out. I'll say a few words, then the president can. You see, there's something, you're a journalist. you are basing your questions based on things you say you have read from people and you believe those things. And because of that, you're asking your question, presuming that those things are correct, and that is wrong. What you should do, first of all, is that if you want to really ask, oh, can I get a copy of the Constitution? Read it yourself. You are talking about the legal action in court and saying that it doesn't stop us from, are you a lawyer? Have you asked somebody who is a lawyer to give you a legal opinion so that you will be talking from a point of view where you can really, I'm a lawyer, but even in this case, you can ask my colleagues. I told them I will not offer an opinion because it will be my personal opinion. Because I have an interest, they should take it to the lawyers for the GOC to give a legal opinion. That is the way. It's like a doctor. You are diagnosing your own disease. It is not good. I don't have a problem if you want to ask that question. But you see, when you ask it and you say that, they say you are not, then it is not correct. Prof did not say, and I say it again. Prof did not say. Let me read it for your benefit.
Let him come and read it. Let him come and read it. Come to your colleagues.
I can read it. Only if it's the same document that I read.
Now look at you.
Okay, you first of all check whether
check. You've read it already, so check and see if it's the same one. Look on the previous page and you'll see the people who it went to.
Okay. Let me read it.
No, wait. Is it the same document?
It's getting closer. It's like. No, it's the same. Let me read it. Because see, I can't get the whole text now. I can't get the whole text, but at least I remember what I read. So you let me read it, and you understand me, please.
So that you get to
I can't help. Please, are we reading this today? Just now.
No, I'm reading it now.
All this.
No, I just want to read this is an email sent by the president to the GOC president, from the GOC president today. I think the presentation is. Yes. Yeah. But let me read it. This is where I think the issue comes from.
Read the first two paragraphs, that's all.
Okay. Dear colleagues, I returned from Durban, South Africa, last night, where I accompanied our athletes to the African Championship in athletics. I was so engrossed in the athletes and the meetings we had there that I missed the entirety of the discussion on the Congress notice. And I apologize for that. Fortunately, the Secretary General addressed the initial questions. However, doing so has prompted a subsequent question about whether this implies two Congresses for 2016. Implicit therein is that of whether our elective Congress will be held in 2016. The answer is that the GOC agreed with the IOC that our elective Congress will be held before the end of April 2017. And it is our intent to ensure that this happens in an open and transparent way. The logic underlying the agreement with the IOC regards, first, the attempt to regularize the election cycle to ensure that our elections again fall after Olympics. You recall, okay, that's the most important thing.
So,
my understanding,
No. You said that, you stated, that's why I said that it's a different thing if you want to interpret something. But don't put words in somebody. You stated that Prof had written, and when I said no, you said what I was saying was not true, and that you had read it. And from what you read, Prof never said that. He stated exactly what I stated here, and what he also stated, that according to the Constitution, we must do it before April 2017. That is what he stated. And you must be humble enough to admit that, and therefore, when you go, you also educate whoever you said it. That is what you must do. Humbly admit that, what you understood is wrong. That is what you must do as a good journalist.
The second thing I want to say is it raises the question of whether the Congress So essentially, it raises the question of whether Francis Dodu said he went and had a conversation with IOC.
That's what he said.
Did you hear that in here? I think the answer is no. All I was suggesting was that, guys, we went to an election in 2011. That was not controlled by us. Our predecessor, Mr. B.T. Baba, had a Congress, okay? That Congress was a bit tense. After that Congress, the IOC said, you have to reform your constitution. They gave us two, if you see the minutes of the 2013 Congress, our first one. We got elected in 2011. 2012, we could not go to Congress because, again, somebody filed an injunction. Is that what it's called, an injunction? I believe it was Mr. Frank Appiah, right? Yeah. Yes, it was. He filed an injunction. No, it was Mr. Frank Appiah and Mr. Sani. I stand to be corrected. But filed an injunction against the election. And actually had those of us who had been elected as the defendants, and Mr. B.T. Baba had been added to us. Because at the end of the 2011 election, he came and closed the ceremony, shook our hands and everything. So he was now counted as one of us. And he was also sued. Yeah. So, for the whole of 2012, we couldn't have a Congress. Immediately after the Olympic Games, to use your terminology, after the London Olympics, we couldn't have a Congress because we were in court, as we are in court today. Okay. So that case was lost by the other side, I think early 2013. And so we promptly called Congress. When we went to Congress, we indicated to Congress the recommendations that had been made by the IOC for our constitution. They had two key things they wanted to change, and it's in our 2013 minutes. The first one was that they wanted the size of the board to be reduced. They said the 18 or 19 person board was too unwieldy. The second one was that they wanted a change in the electoral process, because all the stuff that happened there had to do with people trying to bring in nomination committees, and if you all remember 2011. So they proposed how 3 weeks before you have to call for nominees or nominations, and then this, and then this. So in 2013, at our first Congress, that's what birthed this constitution. It hasn't been changed since then. This constitution has taken into consideration that, and what I was saying was that, remember that the IOC made it April of the subsequent year because they wanted whichever GOC is here to account for the Olympic year, the most important year in the quadrennial. So to go to Congress in July could not have been to do an election, because I have also been shown those platform things where people are suggesting they were trying to smuggle in an election. So on the one hand, we were trying to smuggle in an election in July. On the other hand, we don't want to go for an election and you have to ask yourselves as journalists, can both of these things be true at the same time? The answer is simply the truth. We wanted to go to Congress. We had got this very beautiful opportunity from Cocoa for Ghana. They had told us they wanted to be with us for 5 years. We wanted our people to know about it. We wanted to report on 2015's finances so that once we went for the elective Congress, there wouldn't be 2 years of financial issues bogging. Those are the things that we wanted to do. We were taken to court. Some of us were sued personally. We are still in court. And now you are standing here telling me that I should forget what my lawyer has said because it's a different Congress, I should go. And if they throw me in jail, you will go and sit there for me, right?
No, but the relief seeking
are you willing to take that risk for me?
No, that's something the relief seeking.
So we are waiting for our lawyer to give us the advice. That's where we are right now.
It's very simple.
Trust me, nobody wants to go to Congress faster than us. Whoever is making it seem like they want to go to Congress faster than us, they are kidding you. Nobody wants to go to Congress faster than us. But we have fiduciary responsibilities to make sure that we account as per our constitution.